As we put the last decade in our rear view, I wanted to take a look back to appreciate the games that brought me the most joy and new experiences over these years. I try to put these games in ascending order as much as possible, but most of these games can't be compared directly, so I did my best with them based on how fondly I remember the experience, but I won't be including any remakes or remasters because it's not the original, so it doesn't really count in my opinion. Deus Ex: Human Revolution. This is going to be my most eclectic game in this top 10, and honestly, this is just a personal pick for me. I love stealth games where I have the option to reset, where I have multiple divergent paths to the goal, and I have the freedom to mercilessly slaughter everyone in sight every time that I misstep and accidentally set off an alarm. The first time I played through this game, as well as the sequel Mankind Divided, I went through the game on the hardest difficulty, without killing anyone, and attempting not to set off any alarms. I consistently managed to beat the top difficulties while performing a mercy run, but I don't think I'll ever not set off at least one alarm somewhere. Sorry, not sorry. This is exactly what I asked for. Even though you can get through your missions with a hail of bullets, this game, and Adam Jensen himself, make it very clear that they'd prefer to complete the game without detection or casualties. Getting a huge bonus to silent, non-lethal takedowns gives direct feedback to players that encourages them to become the ghost of knockouts past. There is nothing quite as satisfying as seeing that smooth operator bonus pop up, and using those experience points to make yourself the ultimate stealth machine. Stealth man. That's still you in there, right, Jensen? Where this game really pushes the envelope is with its story. The ability to save lives with your words and ingenuity instead of your weapons, being rewarded for finding hidden locations, routes, and unique solutions, and making tough decisions that question the morality of augmentation and what to do with the people responsible and the people affected. I won't spoil it here, and this game isn't for everyone, but it's one of my favorites. Maybe one day I'll come back and earn that smooth operator distinction the whole game through, but probably not. Transistor. This game is so beautiful. This is definitely another one of those eclectic games on this list, but it's nice. It's short, and it's a sweet game to play through, and honestly, you could probably get it for like $5. This game starts off relatively simple, and then you're given Pandora's box to tinker with, different abilities, moves, and combinations. The essentials are stun and reach, but then you start messing around with mask and bounce. Oh, and if I put bounce as my passive ability, then I get a shield. Oh, you can have a pet dog in this game? And if I give Spark to help, then I get to have 2 dogs. Okay, so I have to dodge their fire, summon my dog, and oh, wait, hold on. I need to run Void with Purge and Flood if I want to debuff my enemies. I mean, the possibilities are technically finite, but you're gonna struggle with the choices and you'll be loving every second of it. This game reminds me of XCOM in the way that it's turn-based strategy, but it has this element of time freeze, turn play, strategy, strength, customizations, or real-time play that makes the game even more of whatever you want it to be from one encounter to the next. This game is just fun. The challenge modes provide a great opportunity to try new combinations and tactics with little risk, but high reward. The story and art style can't be ignored. It's short and sweet, and even after I finish playing it through, I feel the urge to regress through the story again immediately after beating it again. This game is a great experience, even if you do burn after reading. Sonic Generations. This one's definitely a personal pick for me. I've been a fan of Sonic games ever since playing Sonic Adventure 2 on the GameCube. Many of the games in between have been largely lackluster at best, but finally with Generations we have a true revival of the best of Sonic. This miraculous glimmer of hope has made me optimistic for future Sonic games to this day. I can't even count how many times I've sped through Speed Highway as 3D Sonic trying to best my score in top time. Saving fractions of a second off your time feel like high praise. This game is so much fun to zip through. Who cares that it only took 3 minutes? Was it good for you? This entire game is such a love letter to Sonic fans. Every level is a remake in 2D and 3D of the original level. Seeing familiar Sonic levels from over the years transformed into one another is so fantastic, and it literally gives you a new perspective on some of the best levels from over the years. The music in this game is a remix of the cream of the crop 2. This is the best of the best, and it's all here for you. Or for me, I guess. If some of the smaller details aren't holding up under scrutiny, that just means you aren't running fast enough. The levels are great to play again and again, and the nostalgia is cranked up to 11. Replaying Sonic Generations is like reheating cold pizza. It's not exactly a fancy steak dinner, but good is good, and I like to go fast. Next, shout out to Sonic Mania for having amazing levels, but I can't stand the checkpoint system in that game, so I'm gonna just have to give it an honorary mention here. Final Fantasy 15. I have always admired Final Fantasy through the lens and experience of playing Kingdom Hearts. I've been eagerly awaiting for Final Fantasy 13 Versus ever since it was first announced, and I followed it all the way into Final Fantasy 15. This game is very literally a journey. This is the most sidetracked a bachelor party has ever or will ever go, and that's including the Hangover movies. This game starts off with you losing the life of your father to a needless war. Congratulations on your inheritance. You've been promoted to king and exiled. If this sounds familiar at this point, then it might be because you're thinking of the beginning of Lion King, because that's this story too. Except lions don't have cars or swords unless you're playing Kingdom Hearts. I'm talking about Final Fantasy here, sorry. You meet many of your loyal subjects on your adventure towards literal foreign territory in the hopes of saving 2 kingdoms with the marriage to your fiancée. You meet your secret uncle and his crippling fedora addiction. You fight your future brother-in-law, and you do everything that you can to keep your broken family, friends, and kingdom together as your best friends take turns going on meaningful personal adventures, losing their eyesight and discovering that they're secretly a stormtrooper. You find God, well, gods, make a last-ditch effort to save the world, and you fail, actually. Everyone you love or have ever loved dies. Your uncle dies. You die. The world falls to demons and darkness, and you have to live. Or actually, you have to die. With the fact that you did everything you could, but failed.
This is it.
You fall just short on several subsequent occasions, and just as you lose everyone and everything that has ever mattered to you, everyone forgives you. No, you're crying. Moving on. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I've been playing Smash Bros. Avidly with each new release ever since Melee, and I even dipped back to the N64 version during university. I love playing against CPUs and friends alike with various stock options, and of course I love Melee's Adventure Mode and Brawl Subspace Emissary. Rip in peace. Smash Ultimate is like a love letter from all of my friends I've made over the years. Imagine having a party with all your friends from grade school, high school, university, and beyond, all here together for you. Oh, and new friends keep coming to join the party too. I hope you've been enjoying Joker and Hero in the home run contest as much as I have. All the DLC characters are welcome here. This game has always been an absolute staple in my life. Birthday party? Let's play Smash Bros. Cousins visiting from out of town? Smash Bros. You just finished a really intense game and you're not ready to invest in another plotline yet? Smash Bros. Just finished playing a few rounds of Smash Bros? Let's play Smash Bros again. This game has become so ubiquitous to me that it almost feels impossible trying to describe what makes it amazing. Like, how does anyone not get it? It has music from every game under the sun, and there's so many different options that you can play. You can make your own stages, pick the map you want to play on, pick your character, pick random, go 1v1 and competitive with no items, or have mayhem with items on max. I think my favorite will always be dunking on CPUs, but to each their own, that's the whole point. That's not even starting on the level design. Hyrule Temple has been the gold standard for messing around with your friends or dunking on CPUs, but there have always been a lot of new standout levels too. I really love the boxing ring as well, and honestly some of the newer levels have been the best. I have to say that I'm a big fan of making custom lava stages where I can create absolute mayhem for myself and any of my friends brave enough to join me in the hell we've created. This game is just so good. Persona 5. This is hands down the best RPG, let alone JRPG, that I have ever played. The combat is fun, the music is lively, the story is gripping. By the end of the game, you'll genuinely care about your teammates and confidants. Absolute gold standard. There's too much to say about this game in under a minute. Capturing, transforming, and combining personas is a crucial aspect of your rebellion and rehabilitation. At first, you'll be finding excuses to toss and transform monsters left and right, but you'll eventually settle into your favorite rogues gallery of arborations in your Demon Dream team. Once you start gathering and playing with continuous boosts, heat risers, debilitations, almighty skills, instant death, reflex, you'll be thrilled with all the min-maxing you can do with all your favorite personas or your team of complementary creatures. As you build relationships with your friends, allies, confidants, and personas, you'll begin building the ladder and layers of depth to unlock the endgame personas and abilities that will bring your power to its ultimate potential. Have I mentioned polish yet? This game has aesthetic to the nines. There's so many seemingly small details that are just so perfect. The character illustrations, the fully pre-rendered animated sequences, the voice acting, the battle music, the persona animations, the execution animations, the all-out attack animations, of which there's one for each party member, by the way, the victory screen animations, the conversation box artwork, and even the menu animations. I could do this all day. What a stylish, polished, and genuinely wonderful experience. There are so many things that are easy to miss if you don't take a moment to stop and smell the roses. This to me is the gold standard for seemingly seamless immersion, and I'm excited to come back for a third pass through with this game with Persona 5 Royale. Let me just say loud and clear that there's a good reason Joker got picked for Smash, even from being a PlayStation exclusive. Check this game out if you haven't already. That's all I'm gonna say.
The rebel soul that resides within you.
Portal 2. Portal is such an engaging, puzzle-solving game, but what sets it apart is its razor-sharp humor and wit. You never quite feel like you're winning or losing, you're just playing. Regardless of how many deaths you have, or the amount of test chambers and challenges you go through, you completely forget that you're inside of a game and you just experience challenge, solution, hilarity, and bliss. Even after my first playthrough, my friends and I were quoting this game nonstop for weeks, months, and probably even years later, to be completely honest.
For science, you monster.
Coming back to replay this game after so many years feels like visiting an old friend. Entirely familiar, but with a lot of catching up to do. I could feel my brain firing up every time I encountered an unfamiliar puzzle, simultaneously trying to remember the solution and resolve it on the fly. There's so much that this game has to offer. The story is perfectly paced when you play it start to finish, and it's so wonderfully and seamlessly twisted into the journey. This game is such an essential must-play game that I often forget to even mention it. It just feels like the bedrock of society to me at this point. It's just so ubiquitous in my mind. Breath of the Wild. This game is utterly fantastic. This game is at its absolute best when you get to experience the pure freedom of exploration for the first time. There were a lot of times where I was unprepared for what lied ahead of me, but with enough perseverance, I was able to forge a path through almost any obstacle. There are so many fantastic little experiences with this game, and the level of depth and polish is honestly staggering. There are so many little details that you would never expect to find or experience that truly make your experience feel unique. Each time that I was able to find a unique way to solve a puzzle, I felt like I was having a real and meaningful interaction with this game. Using bombs to launch myself up the side of a shrine was way better in my mind than however I was supposed to complete this challenge. There's something new to find and experience on each new playthrough, and honestly, I'm excited to come back to this game in a few years. The puzzle shrines are an absolute standout when they're done right, and the Divine Beasts present this fantastic little dungeon, packaged with history and story that start to add the necessary flavor to this adventure simulator. If you haven't already, then you'll thank yourself to play this game, especially when you're finally able to collect the champion's weapons, the Hylian shield, and the Master Sword, and more, probably. This is such a fantastic and immersive game, it really reminds me that climbing isn't even available as an option in most other video games. The sequel is gonna kill it, I'm so excited. Halo Reach. I have always been a fan of Halo ever since playing through the second game with my cousin. Fast forward to Halo Reach, and I'm playing through the game on Solo Legendary. From the very beginning, you already know how this story ends. This solitary experience is raised to new heights with the Noble team by your side, and then crashes down into an explosive finish as piece by piece you begin to lose this built family. Damn. To me, the replayability in this game is infinite. Regardless of whether I'm playing solo or with a friend, this game is so much fun. The AI at times can leave you wanting, but there's nothing better than playing a little bit of a game that I like to call hand the snipers and rocket launchers to the Marines and civilians because for some reason they have infinite ammo and pinpoint accuracy. Honestly, playing through this game again has brought back so many fantastic memories. Well, outside of rewatching my whole team get picked off one by one, I have to say, one of the highlights has been jamming warthogs into areas that you really weren't supposed to reach. Did I die the first time I tried to do this? Doesn't matter. I'm here now, and this hallway is my domain. One of my favorite parts about replaying this game is seeing my custom character in the cutscenes. Like, everyone in Noble Team can clearly see that Emil and I have the exact same helmet and etching, but no one says anything. And the first thing Kat does when she sees either of us is step in between us. Playing the final level as twins has a special kind of kinship. Man, this game just freaking rocks. Fallout New Vegas. This is the best Bethesda game of all time. Obsidian killed it. How can anyone argue with Skyrim with Guns, Cowboy Edition? The dialogue options in this game are hilarious for an RPG shooter that perfected the art. Even in the post-apocalyptic world, there's so much contrasting despair and hilarity that it's just the most phenomenal roller coaster of choose-your-own-adventure. There's a mission where you investigate a secret cult of snooty, upper-class ex-cannibals, try saying that 10 times fast, in which you can lie your way into preparing the meal, play psychotherapist hard enough with the chef to get him out of your way, steal his recipes for imitation human meat, fix the meal up yourself, trick the host into outing himself in front of all of his guests, and then walk the meal-to-be out into the middle of the dining hall. Absolutely classic. Yes, this game has that level of detail. Just remember to save often because this game likes to crash, and sometimes the, features, cause unexpected results. It just works, ladies and gentlemen. There are so many different ways that you can play through this game, and the avalanche of options and missions is just the tip of the iceberg. My absolute favorite way to play through this game personally is with max speech and guns, the Bloody Mess perk, and an anti-material rifle paid for by the good people of the New Vegas Strip. Did I reload this save 100 times? Yeah. Did the ball land on 13 and I 35-tupled my money? Yeah. The ability to talk your way out of almost any encounter or quest is a sight to behold. There's also something to be said for the option to botch a tyrannical leader's tumor surgery, watching his followers switch from foaming at the mouth angry to calm and collected understanding, as you medicine skill your way out of a murder charge that would have resulted in crucifixion. That's not even an exaggeration. Caesar's Legion regularly crucifies people, or in their words, profligates, at the very least. The DLC content is fantastic too. Scratch that, the DLC content in this game is better than the core game. The fact that you can talk your way out of the final boss battle and encounter is simply amazing. Joshua Graham and Ulysses are both extremely interesting and engaging characters, but of course there's absolutely no comparison to Muggy the Robot or the profusely angry toaster from The Big Empty. This is, in my humble opinion, a snapshot of the very best that gaming has had to offer us in the past decade. Overall, just a combination of fun guns, meaningful stories, difficult choices, and angry robots. A solid concoction, I think. So that's my list. If you didn't see one of your favorite games in here, that's because whatever game you like sucks, and it doesn't deserve to be loved or enjoyed by anybody. No, obviously I'm just kidding. If your favorite game from the 2010s wasn't in my list, please feel free to drop a comment or a suggestion talking about it, or even your top 10 favorite games from the last decade. Thanks for watching, and shout out to all the amazing games that probably should have made this list instead.